on.
Live streaming
Good.
is on.
So that means the recording is going. Now, the critical thing is you've got to keep this back end open. So it's going to come. There we go. You have to not close that because that's where you just messed up. Nice. And we have an excellent connection there. So take that out. We'll come back to Tori in a moment. Okay. But put that back where it should be. That's right. Okay, now we know. If anything crashes, everything's there. Let's put the map back in the dock. Let's get rid of the calendar. Now, let's bring Toria back. Where's Toria? Okay, hold on. Did you just... No. There's Toria. Yeah, I see the mistake you made there. Okay. Just go slowly. That's it. Okay, hold on. It's just got some stick handling here to do. I'm just about done. Okay, let's get this back. That's a problem. Okay, that's got to stay there. That ensures I can see. And I think the issue there is I've got to leave that. Okay, good. So then, okay, let's for the moment just leave that here for now. Okay, keep it really simple. Yeah. So then let's get the map back to its assumed fit. Right. Okay, so then we do that. And then we bring that. No, okay, come on. That's it. You can do it. You can do it, Tech. Yes, you can. And then we open that out. So then what happens is that's good. That's good. So now I can see the live stream. We're good on YouTube. It's moving. That means we're good on Toria. I have the chat open. I can sort of leave that up here like that. That's good enough. For sure. And I think I'm going to hold that for now. I think we have it stable. I think we can lock in our configuration today, and I've cleared up the dock. If I want to bring anything else in, I could do that, which is really nice. There's the space station live over the North Atlantic Ocean right now. So I can bring that live view up and we can talk about that. And I'll bring that down a little bit more. Yeah? Cool, isn't it? Isn't it? I know. Did you play the music too? The cool chill out music. Okay. Okay. Yeah, it will put you to sleep. Okay. We're almost ready, but it looks like it's going to be a small in-person group. I was expecting something small because the assignment was due last night and students have a lot this week. So I want to just make sure we're technically good. I'm assuming now, just for the Cosmos, Andrew, Shona, Harmanpreet, and Wei, Jen, you can all hear me clearly, correct? Good, okay. So let me just, I've got the pens, we can do that. I have my lesson plan here. I've got everything there. And let's see what we have. Yeah, I'll keep that here. I've got that. Okay, I think we're just about ready to launch and we're on schedule. It's about 10:08 and we want to launch at 10:10. And so why don't we do what I do in the other? That's my kind of format for this is we'll start with the space station and get our planet wide view. No audio. Yeah, we've killed the audio there. This is not working, so that's good. And those screens we will get working very shortly. If I want to look at this, I pivot this way, and then the live stream, yeah, then I can look like that. That's right. And then that will come. That will look really nice. And that's how the live stream, just a second. Let's see how we're doing over here. Yeah, it's okay. Bring that back. Excellent connection. We have students. The Cosmos is filling up, and we're in person. So let's get the doors closed. Could you close the door? Yeah, great. And we're just about ready to start. Thank you. The doors are being closed. The hatches are being locked in. And this spacecraft is now officially launching. It is. It's a small class. We're a small crew today for our 7th class before midterm break. But we're still going to have a really good class. In fact, when it's smaller, it means that we can all really interact. And it will give one of our crew members today even more of a chance to talk. We won't be so rushed. There will be lots of time for all of us to contribute. So welcome everyone to Global Leader on Wednesday, October the 15th, 2025. And it is our 7th class of this semester. And today we start with some good news. In a moment, I'm going to get to that when we talk about the current event and also about what we're going to really look at in today's class. But let's make sure we have everybody on board properly, as well as picking our note taker. So first, I see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 here. So somebody has to. Sasha, you ready to do notes? Way to go. Okay, so just for now, just you know how to move the slides? Yeah, okay. So just go to an empty slide. I'm going to give Sasha, do you want to come over here? I have to stay here, grab a pen for Sasha, who is going to be our note taker today, Sasha Wilkinson. And yeah, just keep going. There's notes from other classes. I think even short history of the world might be there too. Okay, keep going. Yeah. What I do is I make a PDF of this, and then I can just delete the slides that I don't need. Yeah, keep going. Oh, yeah, we did a whole thing on civilization. That was short history of the world from Friday. Good. Okay. Oh, that was from Pericles, from the great Greek leader in ancient Athens. Okay, good. So here we go. So Sasha is coming for the notes. There she is. Great. So Sasha, go ahead and just put the date, global leader, the date, and then while she's doing that, could those in the Cosmos right now please put your full names into the live chat so I am clear on who's absolutely on board when I check things later. And then for everybody else, do you want to just go put your name on the board underneath what Sasha is doing? And then we are going to officially start today's class. And for those of you who are now watching synchronously and asynchronously while our in-person classmates put their names on board, just know that right now you are looking at the International Space Station. And as always, this is a live view, or live if we're able to get a feed from the International Space Station and there's no interference. And right now there isn't. So right now, as we begin this class, we are live over Mali. And we will find out exactly where Mali is when we put the world map up here. But for now, the space station is over Mali in Western Africa. And we will hopefully be able to maintain this live feed. And it is always a reminder for all of you that I'm looking at the wrong camera. Next week, I'll be able to look at the big camera because we have, well, there's some good news coming. I'll tell you in a moment about all of that. But it's interesting that we have a little bit of information about Mali put there by NASA. But more importantly right now is just to remind ourselves of this great planet-wide view, this mindset. This is what the purpose of this moment is at the beginning of each class in the global classroom, is to remind ourselves of what we're doing here, which is we're broadening our minds, we're opening our minds to a much more planet-wide big mindset in which we recognize that we're all part of this single planet, and Global Leader is about this perspective. So Mali, next, as we move on this around, I think it's 7.8 kilometers a second, we will be in another African country very shortly. And the speed of this is in, this is at very, very high speed. But one of the things that I'd like to do is try and open you to the idea of sort of cosmic speed, cosmic time, situating ourselves within the entire solar system and the universe, because that's the world that you are entering increasingly, all of you. Oh, here we go. Now we're into Nigeria. And I'm sure we will see if this continues to move east and maintains a kind of a straight, oh no, it's straight south. I think it's going to hit Cameroon next, but it's coming towards Lagos. Anyways, there you go. So let's get the map up, because that's the critical one. That's human civilization. And that's the part that we really like to familiarize ourselves with, because when we look at the planet-wide view, we're not seeing what humans have done, but this is what humans have done on planet Earth. We've created all of these countries and societies, close to 200 of them. And this is when things get really complicated and messy. So, okay, well, let's talk and remember what exactly we're going to be doing today. We have Sasha on the notes. That's great. She's ready. We have our onboard students. I'm getting up to speed myself. And before we actually start with current events and the one critical one, and then before we get into the main part of today's class, which is we have to vote on the global leaders that we were exploring last week, the corporate big business leaders. We want to select one, but we also want to then bring Bob Marley back. And what I'd like to do today, with your help as teams, is I want in each case, both in the leader that we select and vote on and Bob Marley, I want to drill down and find two amazing case studies in which both of those leaders, one from the sort of corporate world, the global thinker who's doing something planet-wide, and then one from the cultural world who's also a global leader, and that's Bob Marley. And the two of them, I'd like us to be able to pick through how we use AI today and research examples of how each of them succeeded with something, a story, a very clear case study, so that we can kind of find out more in detail what exactly they did, what were the choices they made in a particular situation. We haven't yet done case studies, but we're going to start today with those two individuals, okay? So we have to vote on them, and then we're going to throw Bob Marley into this, in part because I think it would be great to look more closely at Bob Marley, but also because you voted for him early, and because one student did mention in his discussion post or her discussion post that they would like to see an example, a clear example of how Bob Marley really is a global leader. not just the broad idea of his character, you know, and his sort of mindset, but what did he do specifically that would really demonstrate global leadership? Okay, so that's the plan for today. And then there will not be a discussion post today because next week we won't be here. It's a break. So you have done all the discussion posts you need to do for this first half of the semester. And it's great to see in-person students here because some of you may have been up late last night getting your first assignment done. That was due at 11:59 p.m. And so the fact that you've come here, if you were working hard last night and you're in person, is a real sign of some initiative, maybe even a little bit of leadership. You know, you get up early and you seize the day. I'm going to talk about that shortly. So we're going to also start momentarily with a student who's going to be coming up here and presenting from her group last week. And I want to tell you about what she's going to do. So any questions? Anything that you'd like to bring to the class's attention before we really start exploring global leadership, as we always do? Ms. Wilkinson. Yes.
I do recall that my group was one of the people that didn't present or talk about.
Oh, you didn't? Okay. So you need to.
However,
yes.
It was like after I wrote my assignment last night.
Yes.
I no longer agree with who you chose. So that's
okay. All right. Well, then we'll add, because you're going to have to kind of flip back to the choices later, okay? Because they're like a few slides back. The Microsoft CEO, I think, is there, and one other, and we'll add the others, including your new choice, and as well as any others. And then we have to vote. So we're going to have two global leaders we're really going to zoom in on today, and that's the one we vote for and Bob Marley, okay? So, and yours, if yours gets voted, your new one, then it will be yours. Anything else? Anything from the cosmos? Any questions? You can park it in the live chat, or you can jump on your microphone. I'm just looking right now. And for all of you who want to situate clearly Mali, take a look at the world map, and you can see, if you just go right into the center, Africa, the great continent of Africa, where all of human history began. And you will see going north, and then a little bit west, just south of Algeria, is Mali. And a little bit of trivia for you from my knowledge that I can bring from short history of the world. Mali is where that great city of Timbuktu is. Have you ever heard Timbuktu? The name Timbuktu is a famous city in world history because it's a place, a trading post where the trading routes used to come from southern Africa going north, and then others coming from east to west. And it had a library. It was a very sophisticated city in early human history in Mali. Mali has an important role to play in human history, but I can see I'm now paddling down a creek. And I don't want to do that. I want to stay on the lake, right? If you understand my little references, paddling down a creek is a tangent. The lake is, or the ocean is where we need to be. Okay, so I don't see any questions in the live chat. Sasha's ready. So the current event. Go ahead and find you. You're going to have to go back. Okay, yeah, go back. The current event, I'm going to tell you what I think the current event should be that we just need to touch on, and then get ready, okay, Fatima? Are you aware that there are no picket lines this morning? Yeah. Have you noticed? Did you get an email? Did you walk in today knowing that there's a bit of news about the strike, which could be good news? In fact, it probably is good news, because essentially what it means is last night, the College Employers Council, CEC, that represents all 24 colleges in Ontario, and the Ontario Public Service Employees Union, OPSU, which represents all support staff, with the help of a mediator from the provincial government, have come to an agreement, a tentative agreement, but probably it's going to hold. The reason it's said to be tentative is because it's a matter of sort of protocol. Usually this means everything's going to be fine, but the union members still have to vote on it. So all the support staff still have to vote on what their union negotiated, but they very likely will vote to accept the agreement, which means that tomorrow we should be back to normal here, more or less, with support staff. And that means that after the break, if there's no more difficulty, I will have this room working. I will have tech support, and we can get this whole big board and the screens and everything working really well. So I hope we'll be able to make that happen, but we're moving in a good direction. Does anybody have any questions about the settlement, the agreement, or anything around how that may affect you? Emmanuel, yes.
Will it affect us?
Well, if you, let's say, drive to campus, you won't have to wait an hour anymore to park. That's one thing. And there may be some of you who have been needing support from the Access and Support Center, or even from SALS, the Student Academic Learning Services, and their coordinators and counselors and facilitators were not available. So that would have been a limitation. You know, Emmanuel, in terms of how it will affect you, the quality of education and the education experience you've been receiving in this room has not yet been where it should be. So, you know, that's going to be better. And in terms of the rest of the campus, you know, I think that you will find that there will be more people available in the recreation center as well, and others. So you may all have small stories to tell of little inconveniences that you may have faced, but we're moving forwards now. That's the slide. Way to go. So that's the good news, but let's move on, okay? Because I really want to get going on choosing our leaders, but really the most important thing about any class that we do is you, and how you're opening yourselves to maybe a different perspective, a larger perspective. You're challenging yourself to step up and take on more responsibility. You're starting to think of yourselves in a way that maybe you never have before, which is as potential leaders. Or maybe you knew it already, but now this is validating it or giving you more skills and more of a context. And you've also had a chance to think about this. You've done 6 discussion posts, and you've done 1 assignment. And particularly for the asynchronous students out there, all of you have been doing 225 to 250 words a week. Keep looking. I have to look at this camera. Next, and after the break, I'll look at that camera. And so even for those of you who've been coming regularly in person and have only been posting a question, which is exactly what you should have been doing to get your 5 out of 5, you will have seen in the discussion boards that there's a lot more there from other students reflecting. And those are the asynchronous students getting their full 5 out of 5. And for those of you who've been coming also in person, I hope you've been also doing some deeper thinking. So you've been thinking, I hope, really thinking about how this class can not just fill you with some new ideas and new knowledge and help you to understand something, but also maybe change you or help you to grow in some ways, to be ready for leadership in some ways. That's my long way of saying that there's a student who in a moment is going to come up and she's going to present her choice from last week's discussion with her team on what their leader was, their choice. And we're going to add that to the board. Now, I just want to say something about this student that I'm very proud of. This is a student who came to me at the end of last week's class and said she would like to be the person who presents her conclusions from the discussion they had in this week's class. So she showed initiative. And she said, it's not something I normally do, but I want to do this because I really want to challenge myself and grow. Well, this is exactly the kind of courage and initiative that leaders show. They're prepared to go into situations that are uncomfortable. So would you please just give a hand to this student as she comes up and says, Fatima, do you want to come up and tell us? You come right up here, okay? And she's ready to tell us. And I don't know if it was this class or another class, a student said, make sure the students are standing right in front of the camera so they can see you, okay? So come stand here and we can just double check this. So there you go. There you are on YouTube. Fatima Khan has just stepped onto the stage, okay? And Fatima's going to present, and then we'll talk about it. And is there anything you would like to say to me before you start? Okay, so go ahead and tell us what your group chose.
Okay, so our group chose a person named Ryan Hillier. He is the CEO and co-founder of Novalex, which is a law firm. Then later on, it merged with another law firm called Delegatus. But before he started that business, he was a lawyer working for another corporate firm, and he was doing like charity work on the side, and he would do like some pro bono work as well.
Mhm.
But he wanted to be able to help people even more than just a couple hours a week. So he came up with a business model, he calls it the one-to-one model, which is for 1 hour of paid legal services he provides. He also provides an hour of pro bono services, so like free of charge for people who aren't able to afford it. So, he had to like cut out the extra costs in order to be able
Look, you're doing
to.
this, you're not looking at the notes. Just keep going. Okay? Just a little, raise your voice a little bit, okay? So
Okay.
they can hear you at the back. This is great. You've got the notes, but you're not looking. You're engaging. Keep going. Just a little more volume in your voice, okay?
So he had to cut out the extra cost in order to be able to help more people. So he, for example, he had to get rid of the fancy office. He had to move some of his work online. And like any business, you need to get clients. So what he did was he employed the top lawyers, and that was one way he got clients. The other way was he told people about his charity work. And so in his TED Talk, he said that one of his clients chose his firm over the other law firms because they shared the same values and social responsibilities. So I read an article, I think it was published in 2024, where it says that he did around 1,200 hours of pro bono work, and he got around $19.6 million in revenue. So I think that this person is a good global leader because he had a vision, which was to be able to help people, and he was able to accomplish that vision. So that's why we chose him.
Stay up here, okay? Way to go.
I'm surprised.
Stay. Are you stressed?
No.
Look, you're not. Good, because stress is a good thing. I'm going to tell you in a moment about stress from a personal standpoint. This is a very critical skill as a leader. Stress management, like fundamental. So let's just check in for a moment. Last week, you want to come up and you weren't sure and you were a little concerned. You've just done this. How do you feel now?
I feel like I like this a lot more. I like I thought I thought I wouldn't like being in front of a crowd, but I kind of like this.
You like it?
Yeah.
And how come you like it?
Because I get to share my opinion with people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure.
Mhm.
And so just try and remember this moment, okay? Take it in and sort of just like you're having a nice meal right now. You know, you're going to remember this meal because this is real,
Mhm.
you know, and these people are here to support you as I am. And you showed, you know, courage. And now you see it's not so bad.
Yeah.
Okay, which is great. So, all right, now we need to get some critical information, right, for Sasha, because we want to get the spelling in the name and everything there. So, could you just tell her again? And can you raise your voice a little bit, or is
Yeah.
it okay? Try to raise it a bit more and tell her the name and the title of this person.
So the last name, so it's Ryan Hillier. So Hillier. He is the
Sorry.
Illier.
L-L-I.
Yeah.
Yeah. He is the CEO and co-founder of Novalex. So Novalex.
Okay, great. CEO of
And
Novalex.
co-founder. Yeah.
And
Of
Founder and coach.
no. So Novalex. So Nova. That's the company. Lex.
let's make sure too that everyone understands what pro bono means. I'm not going to ask for a show of hands who knows who doesn't, because those who don't know what it means won't put up their hand anyways. So I'll just tell you what it means. It means for free. When you do work pro bono, you do work for free. Well, that's important.
Or at a low cost.
What's that?
Or at a low cost.
A low cost, but we often talk about it as free, low cost. But you're doing it on your own time largely.
Yeah.
You may not have thought of leadership from that standpoint, but at the beginning, you need to put skin in the game, as we say, when you're starting something. You need to be prepared to work for little or nothing for a while you're gaining experience, either through volunteering or when you're starting something. Do not expect success immediately. You need to invest. Okay, so that was really interesting about the pro bono work. What were some of the things again that you identified about him you'd say is critical about global leadership? His vision?
Yes. So his vision was to help people who weren't able to. Wait, how do we put this? His vision was like his. He wanted to help like he wanted to help the society, like,
Yes.
and by providing like what's it called, services free of
Services.
charge. Thank you.
Exactly.
Providing
So-
pro bono service.
How would you define it? Providing what kinds
Yeah.
of services?
Pro bono services. Like,
Pro bono
yeah.
services.
I don't like the way I'm headed, like.
Please keep in mind that as she describes this and Sasha puts the notes up, try to remember this because you're going to be voting in a moment on among these people: Ryan Hillier, Jeffrey Skoll, Satya Nadella. Is a person? Yeah, person. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Fatima?
Yes.
What is Novalex? Sorry.
So it's a law firm,
A law firm.
and so 50% of the time, so they have a business model. So where 1 hour of they provide for every hour of legal services they provide an hour of pro bono services to a person who isn't able to afford it. Yeah. You're welcome.
Okay, well, I'm going to let you get back. I see some hands there as well, clapping the live chat for you. Okay, so thanks again. Okay, way to go. Way to go. So here is what we need to do. And I'll just take a quick look at live chat if there's anything. But we're going to move on. And essentially what we need to do is before we go into teams and do some research, we need to get our individual. We need to do our vote. And then we're going to put Bob Marley with that person. So we're going to have a nice big slide with these two leaders that we're going to choose. But we have to remember, we also have others in the live chat too from last week. So I just need to quickly go to last week's notes and see if there's anything that I've missed here. So take a look, and I'm doing this very, very quickly, but all of you can do this too. You just go to the content, you go to last week's class, there are the notes, and here's the live chat from last week. And then I'm going down here and I see you have good Kirsten's notes when we did the little list. And then we have a few names here. And I just want to make sure that we've covered everybody. Okay, so leave that up there, and then we might add a few names to that, just names, okay? So we have right now Ryan Hillier, Jeffrey Skoll, Satya Nadella, and then who else? Let's see if there's anybody on line in the live chat that would like to add anything here. Otherwise, I'm just going to go from the live chat and put Lena Nair. Lena Nair, Leena, CEO of Chanel. Lena Nair. And the description here is it's a little brief. I won't go through it. Is there anybody online that wants to, or here that wants to provide a bit of background on Lena Nair? Yep, I'm going to go through that as well. We have up here, you're looking at Mutader. There is one here. I see who is, yeah, I saw somebody. Yes, it was from, I saw that too. Indra Nooyi, former CEO of PepsiCo. Indra, so do you want to write that down? Just put names, because we're going to have a chance to look at these people a little bit more when we go for research, and we'll do a little bit of research on them, okay? So let's do that for Indra Nooyi. So I'm going to maybe stop there, just not to get too bogged down. I don't see anybody else. Yep. Oh, Kirsten's got one here. This is good. Mary Barra of General Motors. Very interesting woman. And the challenges she's facing right now in the auto industry. Mary Barra, CEO of General Motors. Okay, so let's see. Other than that, I'm going to leave it there for now. So let's take a look. Could you, Sasha, just read the names of the people you have, and I'll just think it through with you. And we're going to do a little research in a moment, but let's just start getting the names. So can you read what you have there on the board?
We have Ryan Hillier.
Ryan Hillier?
Jeffrey Skoll.
Yep.
Satya Nadella. Indra Nooyi.
Yep.
Mary Barra.
Yep.
And Lena Nair.
And Lena Nair. Okay. These are 6 people from the corporate world. Those are my instructions last week, as we were looking for global leaders that we could choose, people who are largely driven by profit. They work in a capitalist model, which is you serve your shareholders or your stakeholders, and you make sure that you are able to deliver profit to these people involved with you. But have they also demonstrated global leadership too? Tim Berners-Lee was an example of a global leader who was very much driven by social purpose. And he made that important decision not to monetize his invention. Now we have a different sort of set of global leaders that we're looking at who are very much part of a large corporate world. And we have to choose one. And then we're going to bring Bob Marley back into that. And then we're going to do our case studies. So let's start to look at this a little more closely. Ryan Hillier, you've heard from Fatima, okay? Does anybody have any questions around Ryan Hillier? You feel you understand what his contribution has been just in a very introductory way as a global leader and what he's achieved, just in a very introductory way. Jeffrey Skoll has come up a lot from choices, and I saw it also in the discussion posts, and I wouldn't be surprised if it's even in the assignments that you've written where you've chosen some of the examples from him. So Jeffrey Skoll, I think everybody is familiar with. Satya Nadella as well. Lena Nair. Is there anybody here right now from a group last week who can provide some information about Lena Nair? If that person is not here, I'm going to delete her, okay, for the moment, since there's nobody here who can actually explain who she is, and I want to move on, okay? So I want to make sure that when we talk about the leaders today, the students are here who can talk about them. That's very important. And you'll be able to put your choice in a moment, okay? On the word. That new one you have?
Oh.
In a moment, okay? In a moment, if you want.
If I'm not mistaken, Juan, I believe it was somebody online.
Is someone...
That came up with Lena Nair.
Okay.
If I'm not mistaken, because I was online last week.
Well, then the information was very brief about her, but maybe there is enough here for you to at least... What's that? It was Drew. Drew, is Drew in the class today? I don't think so. He's not online as well. Okay. But here he is. This came from Drew. Yeah. So Drew had chosen Lena Nair. Interesting that a male student chose a female leader. That's a sign of some progress. Drew, you're not online, are you? I don't see you. No. Okay. So, Andrew. Is that Drew? Andrew? No. Okay, that's another. Okay, I'll read it. Okay. A powerful example of Lena Nair's work has improved lives and remains relevant is her successful campaign to achieve a 50-50 gender balance in management roles across Unilever globally. So she, CEO of Chanel, but then she was formerly at Unilever, or is Unilever?
CHRO at Unilever.
Unilever may have been the parent company of Chanel. Okay, let's not get too bogged down. I just want to stick to what she's done because this is critical. A powerful example of her work, she improved lives and remains highly relevant, is her successful campaign to achieve a 50-50 gender balance in management roles across Unilever globally. When she was chief of human resources, right, okay, so she was CHRO at Unilever before she went to Chanel. Got it. Okay. She championed this ambitious goal for the company's nearly 150,000 employees. This wasn't just about setting a target. It involved fundamentally re-engineering hiring and promotion processes to eliminate unconscious bias and ensure women had equal opportunities to advance. By 2019, Unilever announced it had successfully reached this milestone, a landmark achievement for a corporation of its size and global complexity. Well, you know what? I stand corrected. This is more detailed in terms of a description. This is not bad. There's one word here that's so important about global leadership, and that's how you deal with complexity. And if there's one thing that can cause stress more than anything in decision making and in your life, is being overwhelmed by too many things happening at once. Too many moving parts. That's called complexity. I think we have a sense of Lena Nair, enough to be able to put her on the board for now. Does anybody have any questions? We'll put her back, okay? Fair enough. And I'm going to leave the live chat from when we've got Mary Barra, which is good. So let's see what our final voting list is. And if you need a little bit of time before you vote to do a little bit of background checking on any of these people, I'll give you 5 minutes, okay? To just quickly check on Copilot. You can go to Wikipedia if you need to. That's fine for now. But later, when we do our research for case studies, we're going to get a little more detail with the research with Copilot. But okay, so we have Ryan Hillier. We have Jeffrey Skoll. We have Satya Nadella. Indra Nooyi. Don't have enough information right now unless there's somebody who wants to add something. We have enough people on the board now to remove. So I'm going to remove Indra Nooyi for now, okay? Just to make it simpler. We have Lena Nair, excellent choice. And I'd like to give Kirsten a little chance. Would you be prepared to come up and tell us a bit about Mary Barra?
Not really.
No? Okay.
It was mostly AI. So what I had, I put in the notes.
Okay.
In the live notes.
Is there anyone here who can tell us about Mary Barra and what she's done as the CEO of General Motors, particularly at a very turbulent time in the auto industry? And if there's one industry at the senior level that has been very male oriented or patriarchal, we might say, that's the auto industry. I believe, I may be wrong, I have to check this. I believe she is the first female CEO of a major auto company in the world.
She is. And she's known for leading GM through significant challenges, including the ignition switch recall. That was her.
I don't know enough about her, but what I do know is that she has been a real pioneer.
She's also part of steering companies toward an all-electric autonomous vehicle future.
Okay, that's enough for now, because Lena Nair also is a woman who's done some very important things. But we're going to choose one, and we're going to have time to go into what they've actually achieved and really drill down on this. But Mary Barra is someone I know of only as she has broken kind of the glass ceiling in a world where there has been it's not just been a glass ceiling in the auto industry, it's been like plexiglass. You know, women just keep banging their heads on the top of it and then they fall back down, and she just, you know, got through it. So, okay, finally, I'd like to give Sasha a chance, unless you don't have to put your choice, your new choice there. Why don't you come up, okay? Okay, so tell us and I'll translate, okay, for everyone. Sasha came in this morning and said she had a choice that she thought she would like to replace for what her group chose. And I said, we can add it to your group. So who is it? Winston Churchill? Too obvious.
I know.
Yeah, but, you know, it's like Nelson Mandela. I mean, who wouldn't choose Nelson Mandela, Winston Churchill? Rosa Parks is way too obvious. I mean, everybody from your high school okay. But I will say this. Those are good choices in terms of what they represent. It's just that we're familiar with them. Yeah. Newer. Yeah, and ideally people who are alive. Ideally, you know, but it doesn't have to be. And if we can, even younger, but that's okay. Kevin Hart. Oh, so we didn't do your group in the end. Kevin Hart. Kevin Hart the comic or Kevin Hart the entertainer? Okay. Put him on the list for a moment. And I think I saw everybody here mostly showing some recognition through their expressions for Kevin Hart. So is there anybody here who would like to come up and tell us why Kevin Hart should be a corporate person? Remember, this was our really important instructions for this particular leader, Sasha, as well, was not political, not entertainment so much, but corporate. But maybe there's a corporate dimension. Does Kevin Hart have a business? Does he have his own business? He has many. This is good. Okay. What is Kevin Hart's biggest business?
He actually performs live, like stand-up comedy in his house. He has his own like thing, but he also does charity. And there was a time where when he had his stand-up comedy, all that money goes to a specific charity, like the heart. Okay, it was coming back to me. He has his own charity.
His own charity. Okay. And anybody online want to add any details about Kevin Hart as a choice for a business leader with a global footprint, global impact, impacting a lot of people's lives in their daily lives with things that we use, things that we think about. And so our standards are rising now in terms of how we define a global leader. The impact is really important. Microsoft has huge impact. So does eBay. So does Novalex in what it does. Mary Barra and GM, Lena Nair, Unilever, and Chanel. These are all high impact companies. I'm going to say for the moment, I'm going to make an executive decision. I'm going to show you how decisive I can be when things get into a crunch. That's what a leader has to do. You got to stand up and say, we're going to go this way, not that way. I think we should not put Kevin Hart on the list right now. Not reaching our standard.
If David was here, I would have been better. He was so
Okay.
confident about
Was he?
that. I wasn't getting it.
Okay, that's all right. Okay, so here's what we need to do. I would like to give you each alone, if you need, a few minutes to think about these individuals to make one choice. Would you like 5 minutes to do this? Would you feel ready? Just raise a hand if you feel ready to make a choice from what's on the board. Yes. Yes, just the persons. And then what we're going to do is we're going to take that person, the corporate, big business, global leader who is not only making money, but is showing the kinds of global leadership that we think is a positive example. And then we're going to put that person on a slide half, and we're going to put Bob Marley on the other side, and we're going to find examples for each of what have they done specifically, an example from each. That's where we're going to do some big research on teams. So we're just in the voting right now. Do you need any more time to think about this list, or can we do the vote? You good? We're ready? 5 minutes? Okay, it's okay. 5 minutes is fine. I'm prepared to give you 5 minutes. You want to get a little bit more information, okay? Good. Okay, so here's what I'm like you all to do online as well is, first, for those of you in the Cosmos, do you need me to repeat anything at this point about the people on our board? Because you can't see the board right now. But if you are listening, you will know what the choices are. Take 5 minutes to think about what we have just done in terms of the people we've talked about, and then be ready to vote in 5 minutes on either Ryan Hillier, CEO, co-founder of Novalex. That was from Fatima's presentation. Jeffrey Skoll, president of eBay. Satya Nadella, Lena Nair, and finally, Mary Barra. We haven't really looked yet at what they've specifically done, but we have a general idea of their accomplishments. We're going to select one, and then we're going to really find a great case study from one of these individuals today. That's what we're going to do. And we're going to do that with Bob Marley too. So 5 minutes. And in the meantime, I will check and see if there's anybody who needs me. Anybody need me? One-on-one? We're good? Okay. Okay. And let's see what we can find in terms of how about Mary Barra? Yeah, that's fine. Sure. I'm just going to do a quick little YouTube and see what we grab of Mary Barra here.
I just want to mention that I do have to leave class a little bit early because I do
Okay.
have to get to work after.
Okay,
Like
that's
right
fine.
after.
Yeah,
So
that's
just
fine.
want to let you know.
Sure.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Let's just put this up here for a moment. Okay. There's one of our choices. I'm not going to put the sound on. I just want you to get a visual. And I'll try to put them up. You know, I'll get Jeffrey Stoll and Mary Barra. I'll try, and then let's see if the audio is working. It may not be. That's the problem, but I'll run a little bit. See if we do get the audio.
That we have the right EVs for the market. So I think that, along with our discipline, the $2 billion.
Okay, so I'm going to stop Mary Barra. Let's go over to Lena Nair. See what we get of. Okay, Lena. It's curious. Stanford Business. Okay. Okay. There's Lena Nair. Just to get a little visual. Okay. For those of you online too, you'll be able to see this as well, which is good. So you just look at what I'm putting on the board, and I'm just showing there's Mary Barra, there's Lena Nair, Ryan Hillier. Just curious about ages. Who might be the youngest? Oops. Let's go back to YouTube. Ryan Hillier. Novalex. Oh, look at what we're getting now. Some youth. Now, this is interesting. This person looks younger. I don't know if that should mean anything, but maybe it should. Do you know recently at the World Economic Forum, there were global leaders there. It's a big gathering of global leaders every year, and they were asked what might be one of the biggest issues that we need to be looking at in terms of the future. The youth of the future, young people of the future. Are they ready? Are they ready for this complex world? Ryan Hillier looks to be younger than, but I don't know. I don't want to bias anything. I like them all. But young leaders, let's see who else we have. There's Satya Nadella, I'm thinking might be on the older side. 58? Okay. Right. Yeah. Let's get a close up. Well, there he is. Here's Satya Nadella. Huh. I'm not saying that we should ever choose youth, but maybe I am. Sasha.
Because I'm really trying to think about this with a different frame of mind, like taking in what you're explaining
Yes.
You know, really try to grasp why you are gravitating so much towards why young is important. But I'm also challenging that
Yes.
by thinking, okay, yes, being young and being your brain is but that doesn't necessarily mean you have more knowledge than those older people who have been here longer, who have had more experience, who have gone through more trials and tribulations, and who have challenged themselves, failed, succeeded, and have gotten to the place they are and still remain successful with those failures that have turned to their success.
I think you make a very good point. You know, for those of you who may not have just heard what Sasha said, she's questioning my leaning towards Ryan Hillier, and said, yes, maybe he's achieving a lot, but there's so much we can learn from experience from people who are older about global leadership, like the Satya Nadellas and the Mary Barras and the Lena Nairs. And they may have more for us. They may have more knowledge for us, more wisdom and more understanding, and maybe even more accomplishments. Kirsten.
So I agree with Sasha, but also I think now I'm assuming what your thought process is might be the same as mine. Being older, that young people are way more adaptable to the way technology is moving than say older people who did live without it before and have it now. So like moving from a technology standpoint, I think younger is better as well.
See, I agree with Kristen with that 100%. But there are some people today who are as old as, you know, these people, like Sasha Nadella. And okay, to me, old is like 70. But like they've adapted too, living without it and now living with it. And it's like, damn, they've done both. That speaks more to me. We've been born into this generation. We can't just live with it. We know it's a part of us. They've adapted to it. That to me speaks way more than being born into the world where it's becoming you when you're young, like you said, when you're like older and teens when they were learning. So that's it's a lot. It's a huge difference. But I think it's amazing that people, you know, like Sasha Nadella and all these other people who have adapted to the new technology today. That just tells me their brains are just as good as the younger people.
Ryan Hillier is the youngest.
Ryan Hillier is definitely the youngest.
At
Okay.
31, and then Lena Nair is 56, Satya Nadella is 58, Jeffrey Skull is 60, and Mary Barr is the oldest at 63.
Thank you. Now, I want you to understand something before you vote. We are actually having a structured class, although it may seem like it's a bit unstructured, but there's method in this madness. I'm helping you to make a choice. Leadership, really great leadership, is about making smart choices. But before you make that choice, you have to debate. You either debate in your mind, you have to listen to other people, you have to go back and forth. The only thing that I don't like about what we're doing right now that I feel I wish was going according to plan is Kirsten and Sasha do not have microphones, because you would be hearing them on this and everybody online would be hearing them like it's a podcast. It would be really nice and clear, and the camera could be on them and it would be great. But for now, we'll just have to work with what is until we're back from break, and then support staff will be back. We're trying to make a choice between different kinds of leaders that we think are people who present a good example for us to learn from. And there's no greater debate in some ways between what does youth provide and what does age and experience provide in terms of knowledge and achievement. Before you make a vote, I'd like to say one final thing about me from experience. So it may seem like I was leaning towards Ryan Hillier, but now I'm going to go the other way. I try to not be partisan or biased. I try to give you things that will make you think of everybody in a deeper way. I mentioned to you at the beginning that I wanted to tell you a little bit about stress management. And one of the things that we're going to be doing when we make our choice in a moment is we're going to be looking at specific cases of what our leaders have done that can help us to understand what global leadership really is, what kind of character they had, what kinds of decisions they made, how they dealt with challenges. The one thing that they all have in common is they have to deal with a lot of pressure. And I can speak to this from a little bit of experience. And I'm going to give you a tiny example. And I think this example only comes from my experience, from my age, but maybe not. I'm going to give you a tiny example of something I've learned. Before I started teaching, I used to run a production company, a television production company, and produce television series. Before that, I was a freelance director and writer and produced shows for CBC and History Channel and Discovery Channel and many others, and wrote for magazines and newspapers and even started in the business as a young television reporter at City TV many, many years ago when I was very young. I remember doing a television series once called Zoo Diaries that still runs on, I think, Animal Planet, where I had to set that series up, and I spent a lot of time at the Toronto Zoo creating stories of zookeepers and their animals that we would then film, and that became a documentary series called Zoo Diaries that you can still watch on television. And I had to manage with my partner a large team, many crews, and I had a lot of stress. But I'd had stress before in other jobs that I've done, but there was a lot of real decisions I had to be making. So I had to be on my game and I had to be calm. I learned during that time something about physical fitness that I was reminded of again this morning. During that time when I was producing that television series, I would get up very early. I was living downtown in Toronto before I would jump in my car and go out to the zoo, and I would go to the Central YMCA in Toronto at Young and College, and I would swim. And I started to swim a lot. And I started to really love swimming. And I would swim, each morning, 60 minutes or so. I'd do 100 lengths, maybe 125 lengths. And that really helped me to get through the stress of that production over several months. Was that I made sure I got into the pool most mornings so that I was nice and grounded and focused and centered, so that when people came to me to ask for, should we shoot this now? Should we start editing that now? How should we do that story with that particular zookeeper? How should we deal with the financing right now? How should we deal with the, post-production? All of these decisions, I was able to kind of be calm. Well, last night, I didn't sleep very well. I had a lot on my mind, and I have another project that I'm doing right now. I have to finish writing a book. I'm on a deadline. And at about 6 a.m, when I got up, I thought, oh man, I don't know if I can get to the class. I barely got any sleep. You know where I went before I came here today? The pool. At 6:30 a.m, I jumped in the pool in Toronto. Haven't done this in quite a long time, early in the morning. Usually I swim, whatever, late in the day, but I thought, I gotta be there for my students, and I really want to be focused and grounded. I jumped in the pool, had a great swim, drove to work, feel great. I'm ready. You will find, if you ask any of these leaders, anyone we choose today, I bet that they have a stress management plan that they follow to deal with the pressure. Do you? Do any of you actually exercise? Do any kind of regular fitness? Do any of you have something where you can go. Doesn't even have to be a pool. It can be to pray. But you have your place where you can go and get sort of grounded and calm and deal with all of that stuff that's happening in your life. Because if you don't, you're going to have a real trouble being in a position of leadership. It will be very hard for you to manage the stress. So I just wanted to add that to our growing toolkit through this semester of things that you need to be thinking about in terms of leadership always, and that is the ability to handle the pressure and difficulties and complexity. You need a place to go to get calm, to be ready. So with that in mind, I'm going to now take a vote and ask everybody to vote on a particular person, and then we're going to do a little bit more research with our choices. Let's go through each of them, okay? Just like we did for Bob Marley. First, I'm going to read through this, and I'll just read the names again, and then I'm going to read them one more time, and then we'll vote. Ryan Hillier, Jeffrey Skoll, Satya Nadella, Lena Nair, Mary Barra, and is there anybody else I'm missing? Okay, here we go. Online, you all have one choice too. Please put your clapping hand in the live chat, okay? So, Jeffrey Skoll. There he is. Jeffrey Skoll. Jeffrey Skoll, 1. Okay, 2. That's the vote. 3. 3, Jeffrey Skoll. Okay, he might still be. Could you just put 3 beside that right now? We may delete him shortly. Satya Nadella. 1. 2. 3. Online? Okay, hold on. 4. Harmanpreet and saying 5. 3, 4, 5. Harmanpreet and saying that's 5. Okay. Jacob. Where's? No, just Hussein and Harmanpreet. So we've got 5 for that. So we can now put a line through. Don't scratch him. Just put a line through Jeffrey Skoll. Deleted. For Jeffrey Skoll? I don't think so. I think this is from something before. Exactly. That's something before. That's a clapping, right? Well, same, but it's. Okay, so Jeffrey Skoll is off the list for now. And Satya Nadella at 5. Okay, so now we've got a little bit of a horse race. Ryan Hillier. 1, 2, 3. Oh, I'll try, but I'm not supposed to vote, but that's not going to make a difference. That's not going to make a difference. Have you voted? Okay, so wait a minute. No, but wait a minute. If it's 5 if I vote. I don't want to vote. It's 4. 5. Okay, excellent. So we got 5. So we got 5, Satya. Okay, Ryan. 5. Okay. We might have a little tie here, but we'll see. And then finally, Lena Nair. Lena and Mary. Okay, so let's go over to Lena. Lena Nair. Nope. Line through Lena Nair. Mary Barra. Mary Barra. 4. Okay. We know what our choices are now. So I'm going to do. Just a second. Shona, Wei Jen. Are they voting Mary Barra? Shona and Wei Jen, are you doing Mary Barra? Because that's critical right now. We may have our winner. Wei. Mary Barra. Wow. Okay, so Mary Barra. Excellent, excellent. So here's at least we're going to start the big part. We're running a little late, but I want to keep things moving. So Dewash, Andrew changes his vote to Mary. So we have Mary Barra. What's that? Who works for GM? That wasn't part of the I didn't make that. If you work for, maybe you use Chanel Cosmetics. That, do any of you use Chanel Cosmetics? It's so, okay, here we go. Now, this is the big part. Way to go, guys. Go to a separate card, a separate one, and just draw a line down the middle of the card and put Mary Barra at the top and Bob Marley at the top of the other column. We've got two columns now. Mary Barra and Bob Marley. Mary. Yes, Emmanuel. Sure.
I come from family work,
Yeah.
and them to take a moment to look for a case that has been, most of the pro bonos, they look for them because they know that some people have been done unjustly, or some, the lawyers that they have.
Yes.
And so for some people to take time, all right, and devote an hour for each hour that they do business.
Yes.
And devote it for a case that has been done unjustly or needs actual help. I think that's a way to impact society in a broader and bigger way. Because when you think about it, if I have a case, I have to pay a large amount of money for such good lawyer. But then you're such a good lawyer and you go to help the unfortunate. To me, that is greater than.
Okay. We have a very, very good student here. Emmanuel, would you please come to the podium? Please come to the podium so they can hear you clearly. Rewind and give us that thought again. Please. No, we're going to stick with this. We're going to stick with this. However, we're going to listen to Emmanuel because he's making a similar case to what Fatima said about lawyers and social justice. So remember, Ryan Hillier is a lawyer, right? And he's helping people who are in need. But I'd like Emmanuel to come present this as well, but we're still going to go with that, okay? So would you come up here? All right. So Emmanuel is just going to tell all of you online, he just started to make a case that he just thinks these corporate, but we are choosing corporate people today, but in his view, a real global leader is ultimately someone who's working for social justice. Yeah. Could you just stand right here? Okay, so they can see you, and let's see how because this is for all the synchronous. It makes it lovely. Okay. Yeah, you look big, tall, like that's okay. Towering. Go ahead. Tell us what you were just saying to all of us. Go ahead.
To me, I was just trying to clarify something. Like, to me, a global leader is mostly someone who, first of all, of course, personal interests are not bad. But then if you're to be clarified for a global leader, your personal interests must be people's interests. Now, if he went, being a lawyer, you have to go to school for it and you have to pay large amounts for it. Now, you pay that money knowing that if I become a lawyer, I'll make good money. But then when out of your heart, you paid for your fees and you spend an hour for each hour you make money to help people who are in need. You can find families that have been, unjustly ruled, or all other things, or have been, their land, the property has been stolen unlawfully, and all these things, and they can't find people to help them. So they go to these free lawyers, who are there to help. But then those lawyers are not going to put the heart to it. But then that you went to school by yourself, and you're a good lawyer and that you can help people. And so you take an hour, that every hour that you make money to help those people in need. That is a global leader. That is, and of course, not to banish, all these people who have, done these things. But then when you look at their interests, not that it's bad. I mean, I'm here. I want to start a company. Me too. In the future, I want to make money. But then this guy has just changed my mind. And the fact that he's 31, to me, according to our age, I think he is someone we should look up to. As in good faith to help society, because not anyone or everyone is blessed to be in the positions we are in. But then he chose something that to me has also impacted me, and that's just what I wanted to share. It's just nothing.
Stay there for a second, because I'm going to seize the moment. See, leaders do that. If something's happening that they feel is spontaneous, that serves their interest, they jump on it. It's called carpe diem. Seize the day, seize the moment. I think seize the moment. Carpe diem. You seize the moment. Is there anybody who's prepared to come up here and tell us why she definitely has to be the global leader? Because this gentleman just stood up there. Look at this young person of color, from Africa, telling us much better leader, Ryan Hillier, than this woman is pioneering. She just is an older white lady from the United States. Just because she leads one of the biggest auto companies in the world, that's not the future of global leadership. What he just said might be. Is there anyone who's prepared to come up and really make the case for Mary Barra? Like, really make the case? Now that you know a little bit about her, you don't have to. We can do a bit more research, but this gentleman has just shown some courage. He listened. Fatima made a presentation. He's sitting there. He asked for 5 minutes to think. Now he's coming up and he's going against the grain. The class is chosen already, but he's decided to come up and actually go against that. That is real leadership. You're ready to make your case, even if you go against the others. So let's see for the moment. Is anybody prepared to come up and make a case for why a woman leading a major car company in the world, and we know very little about her achievements so far, just the fact that she's a woman and she's broken the glass ceiling. But does anyone want to speak to generally why a woman in this position should definitely be our choice as a corporate global leader over a young lawyer, Ryan Hillier? You don't have to talk about Mary Barra herself, but you need to talk about a woman in a position of leadership who breaks the glass ceiling. Surely she is an example for all women all over the world, because GM is everywhere, largely. So her example matters, doesn't it, to women in the world? You want to say something? Andrew, can you jump on your microphone? And let's see if we get, if not, we'll just read this.
Sure. No, I can. Can you guys hear me?
Andrew, please make the case for Mary Barra.
Yeah, no, whatchamacallit, yeah, she took a company that was, the 08 financial crisis was literally because of, well, not because of them, is because of the whole mortgage crisis thing that happened. But after the government bailed them out, because they were one of the companies that were highly leveraged from the mortgage crisis.
Yes.
She took a look at their finances, found out a way that they could not only improve the quality of their vehicles, but also, continue to turn a very good profit over the last few years, especially the last 4 years. They've had at least a $10 billion profit every year. So that's or not $10 billion. Sorry, they have really high revenues, but they've had in the billions in the profits. which is really good for a major car company, especially like GM. And they're not a lot of I don't know. There's a lot of speculation in the car market, especially with like Elon Musk running Tesla, and Tesla being the most highly valued car manufacturer on the planet, even though they manufacture the least amount of vehicles per manufacturing capacity. Like they have actually very little capacity compared to what their valuation means that they're worth. I mean, they're very speculatively leveraged.
Okay, let me stop you, Andrew, and ask you a
Yeah.
critical question,
Yes.
and then we're going to conclude. There's a quality that's come up a lot so far this semester in terms of what we believe a global leader should possess. It's called empathy. Do you know what kind of manager Mary Barra is internally? Does she care about anything more than just profits for the company?
I have no idea, personally. Probably not.
Well, maybe she does. I don't know. We'll
I am just a number on that sheet of paper, so it's kind of difficult for me to.
Well, just a second. You're an employee. So in theory,
Yeah.
the culture that Mary Barra sets, and she's the CEO of the American, like the General Motors in the United States, not General Motors in Canada.
No.
So the multinational, the parent company or the major.
The one that runs everything. Still.
Yeah.
I think 7 bosses above me is still Mary Barra. It says on the app that I log in.
Has she done anything while you've been at GM that you would say you?
I mean, she came to visit the plant, which is pretty cool. I mean, I'm
She
guessing
what?
she visited the plant at one point. Which I guess
She
is
visited the
probably,
plant.
Yeah, which I guess is okay. I don't know how often they do rounds of plants, but I know they just invested billions of dollars in Oshawa.
Sure.
So I'm not too up on whatever else she's doing. As long as she doesn't close us down, that's all I care about.
Right. and she hasn't yet.
No, not yet.
Has she said something like
they moved
Oshawa is very important to us, and the people who work for GM and those communities that have made our cars for decades and decades, I'm going to make sure that I defend them and protect them and do everything I can for them before I would even consider shutting something down. Has she ever said something like that?
No.
Or maybe she has. We just don't know about it.
Well, not publicly. She has to be very tight-lipped in terms of what she's allowed to say publicly. However, I mean that's just how the corporate world is, and that's kind of like a detriment against the case of putting her as a global leader. I'm kind of going towards his name. He's just up there explaining. I'm sorry, but
it's great what you're saying.
Yeah, but no, whatchamacallit, yeah, it's difficult to gauge someone personally and how empathetic they can be when they are hidden behind that corporate mask. Especially for business reasons when you kind of have to be tight-lipped.
Yes. Yeah, it's okay. We'll use Wiki for now. It's fine.
Yeah, but as I was looking at like what she's accomplished, it says during her first year as CEO, she was the one to call for the 84 safety recalls involving 30 million cars, and then she also was put before the Senate to testify about the recalls and the death attributed to the faulty ignition switch, like Kelly, you were saying. So
Right. I remember what she's talking about now. Yeah.
Instead of just doing what we're doing,
yes,
I'm gonna take into account the safety. And like 84 is actually an insane number of recalls to make. So she did it, and that was in her first year. So it's not like it's not maybe like she was so focused on like the money or the power that she could get, but also making actual empathetic calls.
She cares about the safety and the lives of the people who drive the cars that she makes. This is important because, by the way, I could just draw quickly from history. You know the story of the Titanic? Are you aware that the Titanic didn't sink because it hit an iceberg? It
sank
sank
because
the company that
the
made
captain
that
was
ship
negligent.
did not put on the right kind of material. You can see this in an exhibit in St. John's in Newfoundland at the Geo Center. There's a great exhibit that James Cameron organized. James Cameron, who directed Titanic and is a documentary filmmaker, he's from Canada. But there were decisions that the company made at that time for the sake of glory and profit that made the ship unsafe. And it hit an iceberg and it sunk. So many CEOs today have the choice. Do I put the welfare of people ahead of profit? It sounds like Mary Barra did that in a small example. And that's important, don't you think, Emmanuel? Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Kirsten. Yeah.
I also think it speaks to her vision that she did start at GM as a co-op student. Yeah, she was a co-op student. She actually worked in and made, I think it was side frames and rails.
Wow.
And did mass production at 18 years old and then worked her way up from there. So she obviously had vision to be able to be the first woman in a predominantly male industry. And like you said, break that glass ceiling. So, and vision is something you have to have as a global leader as well.
She's turned us around very nicely, I must say. And
wow.
Yeah.
Well, she was 18.
Especially the environment she fostered nowadays.
She went to college, got a bachelor's degree in engineering.
So she strived for this.
Yeah.
She was determined.
Yeah, determined.
Well, listen, you have some great information here. So what we're going to do is we're going to end with a little bit of a cliffhanger today. So use my television language. We're not going to do our vote today, or maybe we should, but we have voted. Hold on, wait.
The votes have happened. The votes have been tabulated.
I'm thinking of the pool right now. Just get me back so I'm clear, because my mind's a little fuzzy. We voted. We'll return to this after the break when we do the case study on Bob Marley and Mary Barra. But I want to put Emmanuel on the spot. Are you ready for a tough question?
Oh, that's his name.
I'm gonna put something into Emmanuel's orbit. I'm gonna put it onto his lap right now to think about. I'm gonna say something, but it's done only in a constructive way, and it's also done because you can handle this. If Ryan Hillier had been female, would you have chosen Ryan Hillier still?
Absolutely. I think it's more of their action than what they do.
Okay, just checking. Very good. And you're not giving the answer that you think we all want to hear. You actually believe that. In your country, where you come from, is it possible that women are not looked upon in the same way as men?
In my country, 56% of our parliament is women, and women are the most empowered in our country.
Well, Paul Kagame has had a lot to do with that, right?
Absolutely.
That's great to hear. Just checking.
I am raised by a woman.
You're raised by a woman. You have a mother. Okay. So where's your father? Wow. Got it. Look at, yeah. Thank those women. Thank those moms. Is Mary Barra a mom?
Yes, 2 children, and she's married.
Oh, well. Okay, listen. This is excellent. We have the beginnings of a great case study class that we should have done today, but we've started. We're going to come back to those 2 after the break, and we're going to pick case studies of each. And we're going to really look at the choices. And we may even pick as a case study for Mary Barra her decision to recall the cars. And how she did that, maybe some resistance she might have faced internally, but we need to pick an example from Bob Marley's life, and we'll do that when you get back. So we're wrapping up, and I want to tell you one final thing, some good news too. Keep a mental note of Wednesday, November the 19th. We're going to be having an amazing class during Global Entrepreneur Week here. We're going to be having 4 guests coming in live. I think 2 of them might be here, 2 here. These are people who have demonstrated real global leadership as Durham College graduates, younger and older. The class is being organized in conjunction with me and the Global Classroom and the college. So it's going to be a college-wide event. You're all going to be coming, of course, because it's largely for you, but there's going to be a lot of other people joining the class too from across the college to meet these people as well. They are all kind of global leaders in their own way, but locally, largely. And you're really going to have a chance to now engage with those individuals. So we're going to be preparing for that class when you come back from break. So we're going to be bringing some good experiential learning in from people who are achieving right now. And I wanted you to know that that's coming. In the second half of the semester, you will have, of course, the resumption of your discussion posts we'll be doing every week. You don't need to do a discussion post for today. As I mentioned at the beginning, you've done them all for this half. I will be issuing your midterm grade next Tuesday. And that grade is 6 discussion posts, each worth 2.5%. That comes to 15%. And then there's 15% for your first assignment. So that midterm mark or grade will be 30% of your final grade. So if it's low, on the low side, you have lots of time to make it up in the second half of the semester. But my sense from looking at the students here in person is you're all going to do pretty well. But I haven't read your first assignments yet, and I will be doing that over the next, there'll be a lot of swimming in the next few days so I can keep focused. Okay, everyone. So do you have any questions for me as you head off for your day? And I'll see you in a couple of weeks. Thank you all online. And we'll be back, and there'll be tech support, and we'll be back to normal when you come back after the break. Okay? I'll see you then. Thank you. Make sure you get your name on the board. I'm going to be signing out here for a moment. I'm just checking the live chat. Thanks, Andrew, for your contributions. They really helped. And I'm going to save this live chat before I forget. We're done there. I'm going to end the live stream. Take care, Javon. Okay, I'll leave. I'm going to end the live stream, but I'll leave the